My child, stay with me for a moment before you move on, because I have something I need you to hear. This warning is meant for you, and I do not want you to put it aside for later. Too many times later has become the reason my voice faded into the background, the reason you walked past gifts I had already placed within your reach, and the reason you found yourself carrying burdens that were never meant to belong to you. So listen carefully now, because this moment holds something heaven has prepared specifically for your life, and if you turn away again, you could miss what has been lovingly prepared with your name in mind. I know how quickly your days disappear. I know how your thoughts race from one concern to the next as you try to keep everything from falling apart. I know how easily the noise around you captures your attention, while the noise within your own heart quietly steals your peace and drowns out my voice. That is why I have stepped into your path today, asking you to be still for just a moment, drawing your heart back into my presence because you cannot afford to let this moment slip away. Not this time. The urgency in my voice comes from love, not anger. I have watched you pass by the signs I placed before you, not because you wanted to ignore me, but because life became too heavy to carry. I saw you dismiss my gentle warnings, not because you did not care, but because facing the truth felt overwhelming. I watched fear settle quietly into your heart, and I saw how it made you hesitate whenever I reached for you, how it caused you to pull away even when part of you longed to stay close. I understand that fear, my child, because I was there the moment it found you. So hear me now. This warning is different. I am not speaking from far away, and my voice is not a whisper that disappears beneath the noise of your day. I am meeting you here, placing my hand upon your shoulder, gently lifting your eyes so your heart can truly listen. I am drawing you close because the moment before you carries great weight, deep purpose, and lasting significance. What I have prepared for you is drawing near, and if your attention remains scattered, if your heart is divided, or if your spirit is distracted, you could overlook the very answer you had been praying for. You have come through too much to miss what is now unfolding before you. I remember the nights when tears filled your eyes as you prayed in the darkness. I heard the quiet words you whispered into your pillow, asking for direction, pleading for relief, and wondering if your life would ever begin to make sense again. I saw the pain you carried so quietly that no one around you realized how deeply your heart was hurting. I counted every tear that fell, stayed beside you through every silent night, and held you through moments when you felt completely forgotten. Even then, you were never without my care. Everything you have endured has led to something prepared especially for you, something deeply personal, something that brings healing, something capable of changing the direction of your life. Yet this blessing calls for your attention. It asks for an awake heart, a listening spirit, and eyes willing to recognize what I am placing before you. That is why you are here reading these words. That quiet pull you feel within your heart is more than emotion. It is my voice reaching toward you, inviting you to listen with fresh attention. You have overlooked my warnings before, and each time you found yourself stepping into struggles I longed to protect you from. You remained in relationships that slowly drained your spirit, because you ignored the quiet stirring I placed within your heart. You held on to people who kept you from moving forward, because you believed you could carry everything alone. You returned to habits that continued to wound you, because facing the deeper hurt felt too difficult, and the gentle signs I gave you seemed small enough to pass by. But my child, every warning you missed carried a cost far greater than you realized. Now I speak to you with sorrow, but hear my heart clearly. It is not the sorrow of disappointment. It is the sorrow of watching your heart break in places where it never had to. I want you to hear me today, not because I take care of impossible to or strength into people who did not treasure the heart I gave you, and ask me for peace while holding tightly to the very things that kept stealing it away. I heard every cry for direction, even when you turned from the quiet moments where I was already answering you. Yet through it all I remained beside you. I continued to protect you, continued to guide you, and continued to love you with a love that never pulls away simply because it has been overlooked. If you believe today's blessing is truly for you, type Amen deep from your heart. But right now I need your complete attention. I am speaking with firmness because I desire to protect your future, not because I seek control over you. You have arrived at a turning point where the next steps of your journey are beginning to unfold, and what follows depends on whether you are willing to listen in this moment. A blessing is drawing near, and it is connected to a specific time, A door is opening before you, but it will not remain open forever. Healing is coming towards you, yet it asks for a willing heart. There is movement taking place in the spiritual realm, and if you turn away now, you may find yourself walking in the wrong direction at the very moment you were meant to move forward. You have prayed, "God, give me a sign." This is your sign. You have asked me to speak with clarity. I am speaking clearly now. You have pleaded, "Lord, show me what I should do," and this very moment is part of that answer. Can you sense the weight these words carry? Can you feel your heart growing still, as though the noise around you has quietly faded? That is my presence resting gently over you, creating space for your spirit to hear what pain has struggled to receive. I am softening the places inside you that have grown hard through disappointment, so my truth can reach the deepest parts of your heart. There is something I want you to understand. My warning is not because disaster is on its way. I am warning you because I do not want something good to slip through your hands. What I have prepared for you brings healing. It brings restoration. It lifts burdens you have carried for years and brings light to questions that have followed you through long nights. It will feel like stepping out of shadow into the warmth of morning. Yet if your heart is distracted, you may overlook it. You may hesitate because it arrives differently than you imagined, and in that hesitation, the moment could pass. That is why I speak with both my authority and my love when I tell you that you cannot afford to miss this. Even now I have been arranging things for your good. I have prepared hearts that will help you, opened opportunities before you, strengthened places within you that once felt too fragile, and cleared paths you never realized were blocked. I have been working quietly behind the scenes in ways you will understand only with time. Every step has led to this invitation, this warning, and this moment of decision. So remain here. Do not rush away. Do not tell yourself you will return later. Later has already cost you more than you know. This moment is asking for your attention now, because I am here, I am speaking, and what I have prepared for you is nearer than you realize. My child, let me tell you why I interrupted your day so intentionally. I stepped into this moment because you needed more than another passing thought. You needed my voice to reach through the noise surrounding your life. Without realizing it, you have been drifting. Day after day you have moved almost automatically, carrying burdens that were never meant to rest on your shoulders, and trying to survive one responsibility after another. The weight inside your heart has quietly pulled you away from yourself, from your sense of purpose, and even from the closeness we once shared. This happened because the noise around you slowly became louder than the quiet place where I was speaking to you. You have grown tired in ways that reach far beyond your body. Your spirit has felt weary, your emotions drained, your mind restless, and your heart has carried pain you rarely speak about. Even when your body was still, your thoughts never seemed to rest. You have struggled beneath responsibilities, unanswered questions, and old wounds that refused to stay buried. You have faced battles without strength, made decisions without peace, and simply tried to make it through each day. Little by little you drifted, not because you stopped loving me, but because you became lost in the constant noise surrounding you. If this message has encouraged your faith and blessed your heart, you can support this work through the QR code or the support link provided in the description. Your generosity helps continue sharing messages that encourage peace, hope, and devotion to God with those who need them most. My child, you has missolved. Not everything around you had the weight I was reaching for you. Not because your heart was stubborn, but because it was carrying more than it was meant to bear. You passed by so many of my gentle whispers, not because you were careless, but because the noise inside your own mind had become louder than the quiet place where I was speaking. You ignored the gentle stirring within your heart because you were doing everything you could to keep your life from falling apart with hands that had already grown weary. I saw the ways you tried to dull your pain simply to make it through another day. I saw how you filled every empty moment with distractions, so you would not have to sit with the hurt hidden deep inside you. I even heard the words you repeated to yourself, "I'm fine," while your heart quietly cried out for help. Little by little, the constant noise around you became like a wall between your soul and my voice. Fear laid one stone upon another. Confusion deepened the cracks, and the weight of everything you carried seemed to seal that wall shut. That is why my voice became harder for you to recognize. It was never because I stopped speaking, It was because everything else demanded your attention more loudly. It was never because I walked away from you. Fear simply clouded your ability to recognize my presence. It was never because I stopped leading you. You had become so focused on surviving each day that you no longer noticed the quiet ways I was guiding your steps. Yet I understood every part of your struggle. I never looked at you with disappointment, and I never judged the weakness you tried so hard to hide. I watched you trying to make your way through storms, unaware that I was standing beside you the entire time, steadying you when you felt like you were drifting. But now something important is drawing near, something heaven prepared long before this day arrived. It is meant to change the direction of your life and lift the burden you have carried for so long. That is why I interrupted your day. That is why my presence feels stronger, more urgent, and impossible to ignore. What is before you is too important to miss, too precious to postpone, and too significant to overlook. So let your spirit awaken to this moment. Let your heart remain open, and let your ears become attentive again. Do not pass through this season the way you passed through so many others. What I have prepared for you asks for your attention, your willingness, and your trust. You have prayed for guidance, you have prayed for healing, you have prayed for a clear sign. Some of those prayers were whispered with trembling hands. Some were spoken through tears that soaked your pillow late at night. Others never left your lips because you were trying so hard to appear strong, yet I heard every one of them. Not a single prayer escaped my attention. Not one whisper was lost. Not one cry went unnoticed. All along, heaven has been preparing for this very moment. While you could only see what was happening in front of you, I was arranging what you could not see, closing doors that would have wounded you, opening doors that would lead you toward peace, placing the right people in your path, and quietly keeping you from steps that would have brought deeper pain. My child, my child and child, my child and is perfect. You may not understand it yet, but heaven is never early and never late. What is coming into your life is arriving when your spirit is ready to receive it, not simply when your mind feels prepared or when your circumstances finally seem ideal. That is why the waiting felt so long. That is why you wondered if your life had stopped moving. That is why you questioned whether I had forgotten you. I was never late. I was preparing every detail so that when this blessing arrived, it would remain. This moment is one of the most significant moments along your journey. Heaven has been guiding every step until this exact point, so your heart would finally be ready to hear my voice. I interrupted your day because what I have prepared cannot settle into a distracted heart. It cannot take root where constant noise rules. It must be welcomed with stillness, awareness, and an open spirit. That is why I brought you here today. That is why you must not brush this aside. Every delay, every unexpected turn, every heartbreak, every lonely night, and every closed door has carried you toward this moment. Heaven directed your steps when you felt lost. Heaven protected your heart when you thought it was breaking beyond repair. Heaven remained with you through every stumble so you would not miss what is about to unfold. My child, separate today. I want you to hear me today. Not detected you because you mattered deeply to me. I want you to hear it because I take care of it to she. The next chapter before you calls for your faith, your attention, and your readiness. Heaven is already at work. The blessing is already drawing near, and you are finally in the right place to receive it. My child, come and be still with me for a little while, because I want to speak to the places within your heart that you have hidden from everyone else. I see the quiet exhaustion you carry every day, the kind that sits on your chest so heavily that even breathing sometimes feels difficult. I see the heartbreak you never truly recovered from, the wounds you buried so deeply that you have tried to convince yourself they no longer hurt. I see the loneliness that follows you into the quiet hours, the nights when you wondered whether anyone truly knew the real you, understood your heart, or stayed long enough to notice the pain hidden beneath your silence. I saw the confusion that filled your thoughts when life changed without warning. Plans fell apart, relationships slipped away, doors closed unexpectedly, and with every loss you questioned whether you had done something wrong or whether something inside you was broken. I know the seasons when your spirit felt dry and distant, when prayer became difficult to speak, when worship no longer felt alive, and when your heart seemed empty instead of full. I know the days you wondered if I was still near because all you could feel was silence. I know the fears that visited you in the middle of the night, the fear of failing, the fear of always being alone, the fear of becoming a burden, the fear that your heart had been wounded beyond love, the fear of repeating yesterday's pain, and the fear that you would never become the person you hoped to be. I have seen the quiet battle inside you, the struggle between wanting to remain strong while secretly feeling as though you were falling apart. If you have experienced His mercy again today, write, "Thank you, Lord, for new mercies." You have often believed these struggles were yours to carry alone. You hid them from the people around you because you did not want to burden anyone, appear weak, or admit how deeply your heart was hurting. But my child, nothing about your pain has ever been hidden from me. I saw every tear, even the ones you quickly wiped away before anyone could notice. I watched you hold yourself together throughout the day, only to break down in the silence of the night when no one else could hear your cries. I remember the nights when your pillow became wet with tears as you whispered prayers too weak to say aloud. I saw the evenings when you were convinced that no one cared, no one noticed, and no one truly understood what you were carrying. I saw you sitting alone, trying to breathe through the heaviness pressing against your chest. I watched you search for strength you were certain you no longer had, and I saw you keep moving forward even when everything inside you wanted to surrender. There were so many moments when you felt forgotten, as though everyone else mattered more than you did. You kept giving your love, your care, your patience, and your strength, while receiving only small pieces of what your own heart longed for in return. You watched people take from your kindness and quietly walk away when they no longer needed you. Each goodbye left another wound, and over time you began to wonder whether you were difficult to love, whether something was wrong with you, or whether your heart simply carried more love than this world knew how to receive. But listen carefully, my beloved child, I never left you. Not for a single moment. I was with you through your darkest nights, your deepest confusion, your loneliest hours, and even the days when your heart felt too exhausted to recognize my presence. You believed you were standing alone, but I was closer than your next breath, nearer than every anxious thought, and closer than the steady beat of your own heart. When you believed silence meant I was absent, I was holding you in ways you could not yet understand. There were seasons when your pain became so overwhelming that you could no longer sense my presence, and you wondered if I had walked away. But I want you to know this truth, my child. The moments when you felt me the least were often the moments I held you the closest. When fear overwhelmed your mind, I was guarding your spirit. When your heart shattered, I was gathering every broken piece with gentle hands. When you felt numb and disconnected, I remained beside you in that very numbness, keeping you from sinking beneath it. When you believed you had no value, I continued speaking your worth over your life. When you felt unseen, my eyes never left you. When you believed you were unloved, my love surrounded you long before you were able to feel it. If your trust in Him is still alive today, write Amen. You cried out in the darkness, and heaven heard every word. You whispered, "Help me," and heaven responded. You prayed, "Lord, I can't do this anymore." When you whispered, "Lord, I can't do this anymore," I strengthened you in ways you never realized were being held together by my hand. You kept moving forward, not because your own strength was enough, but because I was carrying you when your strength had reached its end. You made it through heartbreak, not because the pain disappeared quickly, but because I was holding together the places in your heart that had been torn apart. You survived deep wounds, not because you were unbreakable, but because my hand rested over the most fragile places of your soul. Never believe that you carried yourself through those seasons. I was the one who sustained you. I saw the loneliness you tried to hide by filling every moment with activity. I saw the emptiness you tried to quiet by keeping yourself distracted, and I saw the worry you covered with smiles, laughter, and words that convinced everyone else you were fine. I could always see beyond the smile to the ache underneath. I want you to know something that your heart needs to hear. Your pain never caused me to step away from you. Your questions never pushed me away. Your weakness never made me love you less. I remained beside you through every fear, every doubt, every unanswered question, and every moment when you wondered if I was still listening. When you believed your prayers no longer mattered because nothing around you seemed to change, I was already working where your eyes could not see. When you asked, "Why does this still hurt?" I was healing your heart one layer at a time, even when the process felt invisible. When you cried out, "Where are you?" my answer never changed. I was right there beside you. You thought silence meant distance, But that silence was my gentle hands holding your heart together so it would not break beneath the weight you were carrying. You thought unanswered prayers meant I had ignored you, but many of those unanswered prayers were my protection, keeping you from carrying burdens that were never meant for your life. You have carried shame because you broke down. Release that shame because I was with you in every tear. You have carried shame because you felt weak. Release that shame because I became your strength when you had none left. You have carried shame because you believed you should have been stronger. Release that shame. I never asked you to pretend. I asked you to bring me your honest heart. Every tear you cried became a prayer before me. Every silent moment spoke to me. Every painful longing reached my heart, and I listened to every one of them. I walked beside you through every chapter of your story. I was there through the heartbreak that changed your innocence, the disappointment that dimmed your hope, the losses that left an emptiness inside your chest, the loneliness that echoed through your soul, and the anxiety that made each breath feel heavier than the one before. I saw the weight resting on your shoulders. I felt the trembling deep within your spirit. I heard the words you could never say aloud. I understood the fear hidden beneath your decisions, and I recognized the exhaustion you concealed behind your courage. So now I speak to you with tenderness. You were never simply weak. You were wounded. You were never unlovable. You were left without the care your heart deserved. You were never forgotten. You were fought for. You were never alone. You were held. You were never invisible. You were fully seen. You were never abandoned. You were faithfully guarded. You were never beyond healing. Your heart was opening so healing could finally reach the places pain had closed. I know your suffering. I honor every part of it. I understand what it has cost you, and I am bringing healing into those deepest places now. I am reaching the parts of your heart you believed were too damaged to bring into the light. I am sitting with you in the quiet, holding your trembling heart, reminding you that your pain is seen and that your story is still unfolding. You do not have to hide your wounds from me. You do not have to prove your strength before me. I came for those who are hurting. I hold those who are broken. I restore those who have been crushed beneath life's weight. You are safe with me, and you always have been. Now listen carefully, my child. What I am about to tell you is more than a passing reminder or a gentle whisper that can easily be overlooked. What I am about to reveal carries profound weight. It speaks of a blessing, a breakthrough, and a change so significant that your future will no longer resemble your past. Yet this blessing asks something of you. It calls for a heart that is awake, a spirit that is attentive, and a willingness to respond with the obedience I am inviting you to embrace. That is why I am speaking with such urgency. You are standing in a moment far more significant than you realize. Something is moving in the spiritual realm, something prepared specifically for you, shaped with your heart and mind, intended for your future, and aligned with the purpose I have for your life. My child, every blessing has its appointed time. They do not simply appear without purpose, and they are never placed carelessly before a heart that is unprepared. They arrive when the soul has learned to listen, when the spirit is open, when the mind is willing to receive, and when the heart has finally surrendered. That is why I have stepped into your life with such urgency. That is why my voice is so clear today, and why my presence may feel heavier than it has before. You are drawing near to a moment that must not be overlooked. You have prayed for change, yet change asks for a heart that is paying attention. You have prayed for open doors, but a door cannot be entered if you are looking the other way. You have asked me for clarity, yet clarity cannot settle into a heart consumed by distraction. You have longed for a new beginning, but new beginnings cannot fully take root while old wounds are still being tightly held. You have prayed for miracles, and miracles often arrive quietly enough that only an awake spirit recognizes them. Lately, you have drifted in and out of that awareness. Your heart has grown weary, your mind has been overwhelmed, and your spirit has carried burdens that were never meant to rest upon you. Because of that, many of my gentle reminders have passed by unnoticed. So listen carefully now, my child. This blessing carries its own appointed time. This turning point carries its own appointed time. This breakthrough carries its own appointed time. It is not because my patience has run out. It is because some opportunities are meant for a particular season. Some doors remain open only for the time they were prepared. Some moments are arranged by heaven with perfect precision, and they are meant to be received when they arrive. If your heart remains distracted, if your attention is pulled elsewhere, if fear draws you back again, or if familiar patterns continue to lead you away, you may fail to recognize what I have prepared specifically for you. Do not misunderstand my heart. My love for you is never limited by time. My presence does not expire. My mercy does not diminish. But what I am preparing for you now, the opportunity before you and the movement taking place around your life, is connected to a moment that deserves your full response. This warning is not given to frighten you. It is given to protect you. It is meant to spare you from unnecessary delay, from fresh disappointment, from returning to cycles you have already endured, and from losing what heaven has been carefully preparing on your behalf. You cannot yet see everything that I see. You cannot see what is already moving beyond what your eyes can reach. You cannot see the doors beginning to open, or the quiet ways I am working behind the scenes. You cannot see the changes already stirring in the hearts of people connected to your future. You cannot yet see how close you are to the breakthrough you have been praying for, or how near this blessing truly is. This moment is delicate, not because it is weak, but because its timing matters. When heaven begins to move, distractions often grow louder. As your blessing draws near, the noise surrounding you may become stronger. As your breakthrough approaches, your thoughts may become more restless, your heart more burdened, and your attention more divided. That is why I am speaking to you so plainly. Spiritual weariness can quietly blind your heart. It can keep you from recognizing my guidance, my warnings, my signs, and even the blessings already standing before you. Perhaps you have sensed that something has been shifting recently, even if you could not explain it. That quiet stirring is because movement is already taking place in the spiritual realm as what I promised begins to unfold. But your awareness must move with what I am doing. You cannot sleep through this moment. You cannot allow your heart to grow numb. You cannot let fear pull your eyes away when this season calls you to pay attention. So I speak to you with both love and firmness. If you continue allowing distraction to rule your attention, if you continue overlooking my warnings, or if you keep silencing your spirit beneath the weight you carry, you may miss what I have prepared for you. Not because I would take it away, but because your heart would no longer be aligned to recognize it when it arrives. You might question it, overlook it, hesitate before it, or walk right past it. What was meant to become part of your life immediately could be delayed simply because your attention was somewhere else. That is why my words carry such weight today. That is why your heart may feel stirred as you read them. This warning is unlike the ones that came before. So open your eyes, open your eyes, open your spirit, open your heart. Something you have been praying for is drawing near. Something you once believed was impossible is about to enter your life. Something you once believed was gone is being placed before you again. Something you thought had come to an end is being brought back to life. Something you quietly accepted would never happen for you is already being prepared. But what I am bringing into your life asks something of you in return. It calls for readiness. It calls for careful attention. It calls for willing obedience. It asks you to stop drifting through your days, to stop running from the quiet places where I meet you, and to stop ignoring the gentle pull of my spirit that you can feel even now. There were moments in the past when blessings came close, yet you turned away at the very last step. You convinced yourself you were not ready. You questioned whether my voice was really speaking to you. You returned to familiar habits, reconnected with people who slowly drained your spirit, allowed fear to speak louder than faith, and quieted the voice within your heart that was trying to guide you. Again and again, when the moment arrived, you stepped back instead of moving forward. But now I am fighting for you. I am pushing back against the noise that competes for your attention. I am pushing back against the numbness that has settled over your heart. I am confronting every lie that whispers, "Wait a little longer," and every burden that keeps trying to weigh your spirit down. I am doing this because I do not want you to miss what I have prepared for you. So receive this warning with a heart that trusts me, not with a heart ruled by fear. I am speaking to protect you, not to frighten you. I am speaking to preserve the blessing before you, the breakthrough you have prayed for, the peace you have longed to find, and the purpose I have placed within your life. So be still and listen carefully, my child. I am about to reveal something you could not see on your own. There have been battles surrounding your life that never reached your eyes, struggles forming long before you recognized their effects. From the outside, everything may have appeared ordinary, but beneath the surface there has been a spiritual conflict unfolding around you for far longer than you realized. You believed the heaviness you carried was simply your own weakness, yet there were forces working to keep you from the place where I was leading you. You thought your confusion meant something was wrong with your mind, when in truth there was resistance trying to cloud your clarity. You believed your delays proved failure, while unseen battles were unfolding around the purpose I had prepared for your life. You experienced the visible side of your pain, but you could not see the spiritual struggle pressing against what I had placed within you. There have been forces opposing the blessing I prepared for you, not because you were rejected, but because you were chosen. The enemy does not spend his strength opposing what carries no purpose. He does not fiercely resist what has no future, or attack what holds no value. The opposition came because heaven had already marked your life with purpose. It came because you endured trials that should have overcome you. It came because growth was already beginning, even before you could recognize it yourself. None of those battles were meaningless. They were attempts to delay your breakthrough, weaken your hope, and pull your heart away from me. You wondered why a heaviness settled over you when everything around you seemed unchanged. That heaviness became part of the struggle, seeking to drain your strength before the blessing arrived. You questioned yourself, your path, your worth, and even my love. Those thoughts became part of the battle pressing against your spirit. You watched relationships suddenly change and wondered why people drifted away without explanation. My child, some of those relationships became part of the distractions that sought to delay you, pull you away from my direction, or leave your spirit exhausted before you stepped into the next season I had prepared for you. If He has been your strength through every storm, right? God, you are my strength today. And if this message has encouraged your heart, share it with someone who may need this reminder today.